Welcome to the Occupational Safety Leadership Podcast, episode number 67, Reproductive Toxicants. Let's just dive right in. So basically, reproductive toxicants, something that's going to affect your potential to reproduce, or if you're a woman, the viability of a child being born. So let's just kind of sit down. We'll go over a couple of definitions, all that good stuff then. So reproductive toxicity refers to the potential risk from a given chemical, physical, or biological agent to adversely affect both male and female fertility as well as offspring development. Reproductive toxicants may adversely affect sexual function, ovarian failure, fertility, as well as causing developmental toxicity in offspring. That's a mouthful. It's basically saying when you come in contact with these chemical, physical, or biological agents that you have the potential to have sexual side effects in. So um, there's going to be four categories of these toxicants then. So and just like a lot of the other podcasts that we've done, it's going to say classification and then your hazard statement and all that. But the fourth one does not have a number assigned to it, and it's called effects on or via lactation. Um, that's just a very broad general term. So it's one that's out there. It's a category and classification, but thus it does not have a number. And it makes it really hard when we sit down and we read these SDS sheets to sit there and say, because it's really super easy to say, I see a I see a number, I can look it up, I know exactly what this means, but when it doesn't have something associated with it, we have to dig in and do a little more data. Um, so let's look at the different categories that we have out there along with the hazard statements. Um, so the first one is going to be called a category 1A, known human reproductive toxicant. Hazard statement may damage fertility or the unborn child. The category 1B, presumed human reproductive toxicants, and again, that same exact hazard statement may damage fertility or the unborn child. Category 2, suspected human reproductive toxicants, and again, it has that same exact hazard statement, may damage fertility or the unborn child. Um, and we've already talked about the one that can be found, but does not have a number or a category. It can have effects via lactation. Let's go ahead and look at a couple of the common chemicals we can find out in the workplace, and you'll also see where the hazard statement, of course, is going to say may damage. Like all things, it doesn't mean that if you breathe this chemical 100%, you now have damage to your fertility or to the unborn child. Um, when we look at diet, nutrition, exercise, all the different variables that we have in life, it's really hard to put a 100% chance that anything will ever happen then. So we got a little sidetracked here, but let's sit down and look at a couple of the reproductive toxicants that we can find out there. So a couple of these are super common, whereas more of these are not very common out there. So first one, benzene, formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is in a lot of places, also found in healthcare and hospitals too. Um, Glycol ethers, hydrazine, which is found a lot in airplane fuels and that kind of stuff then. Mercury compounds, methylene chloride, nitrous oxide. So if we kind of think about when we go to the dentist and things like that, obviously a little bit's going to be fine for us, but that doesn't mean that repeated exposure over and over again is going to cause damage. PCBs, and then when we kind of think about the plastics out there, like styrene and vinyl chloride. Uh, and then finally the last one, solvent of xylene. Um, So these are the common ones you can find out in the workplace, and I didn't list all 150 of them out there, but when we kind of think about the common things we can find in the workplace, these are going to be the chemicals out there. And that is it for episode number 67, short and sweet, the reproductive toxicants. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. My name is Dr. David Ayers. Thank you, and have a safe day.